Howdy folks, my name's Darren from RC Scale Models, and today we're going to be building this T-34 76 for the GB group build. Let's do this. Okay folks, we've just finished putting the wheels together, and this is how the wheels assembly goes. One, and all the way two, and here, here, and here. You do get your poly caps, just sit in the centre. As for the centre wheel, this goes in here, this goes on here, this goes on here, and again you've got your poly caps go on the end. As for the drive sprocket, we'll sit at the back, and this is what the wheels look like. So we'll go ahead and attach these and I'll show you what it's like. Okay folks, here is all the wheels attached. As for the front transmission cover, it's typical TAMIYA. I've already test fitted this once, as most TAMIYA kits, or pretty much all these kits these days from TAMIYA, fits nicely. Okay folks, we're ready to attach the upper hull section to the lower hull section. It goes this way round. It is one of those kits from the early days. It's designed to be battery operated with motors and stuff, so there is these rubber grommets that sit at the front, and it's a press fit, and the back does slot in, but I've cut the pin off because it wasn't fitting properly. So what I'm going to do is glue this into place, glue the front in, and this is pretty much the T-34 is getting there. Unfortunately, because it's an older kit, I wouldn't really have the hatches open, because you can see underneath there will be light bleed through. You could always use some card or whatever to fill it, but as I say, I'm just going to build this out of the box. I'm not going to do any aftermarket, so I'm not having the hatches open. It's going to be a quick build, but this is the basics. Our next step is to work on the turret. Oh, one other thing I want to mention, I am going to make it like a cast texture, like not cast texture as such, but the instead of being flat metal, I have learnt a technique from a fellow YouTuber who's used TAMIYA cement. Is you paste it over the metal parts and you dab. Once it's dry, you could see I've already done a little bit there because I had to do some repairs, because you have to remove 2 tabs. It gives you like a cast texture, like metal effect. So I'm going to go all over the whole of the front, the sides, and on these flat parts. Like I say, how you do that is you paste TAMIYA cement, and then you just start dabbing with your brush till it gets all stipply. I recommend you do it in small sections instead of one large piece, because the cement dries quite quickly. This is a case of dabbing. So I'll be going over the whole of the vehicle. Once that's done, I'll show you what that looks like, and then it'll look like metal effect. Okay folks, I have finished doing that cast texture. It's all along the sides, around the back. It may look really shiny because that's what it does to the plastic, but once you put down paint, it will go down perfectly fine. I also softened up the fenders with a little bit of heat, and I bent them into different shapes so they're not pristine. Same for the back fenders, they're a little bit bent out of shape, just like if they've crashed into things or a little bit of damage. I obviously don't want the Russian tank to be completely brand spanking new. I do want it worn and beat up, because if you look at Russian tanks, they not the best people, and they're not the best looking tanks. They do get beaten to hell. Okay, these pile of parts make up the gun. This pretty much goes together nicely. This is the gun breech. So we just want to bead the glue down here quickly. And all the way along the back. It goes this way up. We have this funny looking piece that slots into the front. It's such a tight fit. Nice engineering for TAMIYA, even for the age of the kit. And this piece gets glued into here. This bit's not so tight, so we put some glue on this front face. Put that into there. Just let that bite for a second. And now, as for this section, these two halves go together. This makes up the gun mantlet, I imagine. I think this is what this section's called. And this piece gets glued into there. And then this gets glued into there. And your main gun gets glued into there. So that is pretty much the gun. We're going to go ahead and glue this together, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay folks, that is the gun and the gun breech, and now we have got to build up the turret, which is going to house this section. This comes as two halves. That gets glued like that. Actually, tell a lie, we're going to have to put the gun in first. It goes like this. I think there is some poly caps. I'll have to check the instructions. But that goes like that. That's the gun, so you can have the elevation. This is the top of the gun. Just going to take some fettling. That's that top of the gun, and then this is a hatch, probably the commander's hatch or something. Goes on there, so we're going to go ahead and glue that. And there is a back support piece that goes here that tightens it all together, and that's pretty much the turret. It has got kind of a cast texture on it, but I'll probably go over like I did with the main tank with the glue texture, just to bring it out a bit more, and that'll be pretty much it. Also, one other thing I did mention, I'm going to mention, is looking further on in the instructions. The tank version I'm doing is with the Whitewash winter camouflage. It does have on the front an extra armor plate, which is this piece here, which has got like a rough metal texture to it. I'm just going to leave this as is, but this gets glued over the front, on the front glacier. I think that's what they call that. So this is extra armor. Okay folks, the T-34 is all put together now. This is how it looks. This is ready for paint. We are going to do a black base colour as a shadow colour, and then on top of that I'll do the Russian green, and then we're going to do a whitewash, and then we're going to chip it up. So we're going to use the hairspray technique on this. So it's going to be a winter tank. I do have some stowage to go on, boxes, tracks, tarps, some ditching logs, that sort of thing is all going to go over the tank. So we're going to go ahead and start painting this black. Okay, our next step is sponge chipping. We're going to use a lighter green type thing colour. I'm going to use FX51, which is a khaki drab, which is slightly lighter, and then all on the leading edges we can make chip marks. The fuel can's going to get beat up all along here. Okay folks, that's the chipping done. I've only done a slight amount of chipping because as I say, we're going to be doing the winter whitewash anyway. So it's just enough to chip it up a little bit. Because once the whitewash goes over the top, you're going to lose a lot of it, and then we can go back over and chip it up and grind it up and make it dirty once the whitewash is finished. But that's just in case some of the whitewash doesn't go in certain places. So our next step is to give this a clear coat. Then we can wait till that's dry, do the hairspray, put the white down, and then we're ready for chipping. Okay folks, the colour I use for chipping and the colour I use for tarnished type tracks is a custom mixture of red, brown and black. I'm not sure on the ratios, I'll just mix it till I'm happy with a reddish brown colour. So that's what we use for tarnished tracks. Okay folks, as for the wooden logs that go on the tank and the wooden box, we're going to use deck tan, a little bit of dry brushing, a bit of Tamiya's panel line, and that's pretty much how I'm going to do the wood effect. Okay folks, our next step is to apply decals. For Tamiya decals, I like to use Mark Fix Strong because it's designed for Tamiya decals. Tamiya decals can be a little bit thick. Okay folks, we have applied a coat of hairspray, quite a liberal coat, so it's all done, it's all nice and dry. As for the snow covering or snow wash, I use flat white with a touch of buff in it just to make it not so stark. And now it's a case of just applying the coat over the tank as normal, and then we can start chipping. You don't want to go too heavy at first, just want to put a nice coat down. Until you're happy with the effect you want. Okay folks, we've finished painting the whitewash effect on there now. Now we're going to start chipping it. We're going to use a toothbrush and a paintbrush. It's a case of just dipping it in the water and start rubbing away to your desired effect. I've only ever done this once, so I'm not sure how well it's going to turn out. So we shall start seeing. You start rubbing it, it may not start to do anything straight away. You may think it's not working. Now it's starting to lift. So as you can see, it's starting to lift now. I'll take some of this excess water off. As you can see underneath, it's starting to give me starting to chip effect. We're going to go over the whole entire tank to my desired effect, how I like it, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Okay folks, this is the final part of the chipping. This is what I've come up with. As I say, it is my first time doing this, so this is how well it's come out. I'm happy with what I've got. I don't want to do too much or too little. I think this is enough. I don't want to start doing more and then start screwing it up, so I'm happy with how it's going to come out. I'm just going to leave it as is. Once this is dry a little bit, I could possibly go over with a light coat, and then it's all onto weathers and stuff, dirt, grimes, washes, that sort of thing. Okay folks, we're going to start weathering in the vehicle now and stuff. I'm going to use what is engine oil, but I'm going to use that for a little bit of fuel stains because it's close enough. I just want to get some on the brush. And we're going to start pasting it down. I want it to run down the tank. Just like that. We can use some thinner just to thin it out and clean up and stuff. But also I want to use Flory's washes. I want to use a bit of brown over the engine deck. So we're just going to paste this in there. We can paste this over pretty much the vehicle. As well. Flory's wash is designed to go over the whole vehicle, and you just clean it up afterwards with a cotton swab. It is on a flat finish, so it's going to bind and it's going to stick a little bit more than it does on a glossy surface. It may look messy, but it gives a good effect once it's cleaned up. Use cotton swabs, tissues, that sort of thing. Plus it gets into the grooves and it can leave rust stains, streaking effect. Always go the same direction. If you have struggle getting some of it up, warm water brings it up nicely. Gets it up nicely. So pretty much we're going to go over the whole vehicle now and just start to clean this up. Okay folks, I want to turn your attention to how I'm going to do the mud effects around the tracks, lower sides and whatever. I have been experimenting with Ming's acrylic mud. I'll show you what that looks like in a minute, but this is what I've come up with. This side here is just acrylic mud. It has a wet look, and this side has got acrylic mud mixed with pigments. When it dries rock hard and it ain't coming off. So this side is with pigments, so it's got a dry look, and this side has got the wet look. Because it's the snow camouflage and I want the mud to be a little bit wet, I'm just going to use straight acrylic mud over it. I am going to put some dry spots in there, but the main bulk is going to be straight acrylic mud. I think it's a mixture of like acrylic paint mixed with pigments and stuff. This is the acrylic mud from Ming. It's quite chunky, so I'll be using this and letting it dry because it gives it a wet look, which I want, but I am going to put some pigments in it to make it a little bit dry. As for applying it, I advise you to use a old brush or something. It's a lot of first for me on this vehicle. The white camouflage, winter camouflage even, with the chipping, the hairspray. That's the first time for me. Using this mud is the first time. I'm not sure what to expect. This is what it looks like. It's a acrylic goo mess. So it takes about an hour. That's what it did on a spoon. So it's a case of just dipping it in, plastering it on the vehicle. Getting a nice stipple effect. Not going to go too much underneath because you're never going to see it. I don't really do that. We're going to have a little bit on the tracks. Tracks is going to be caked in it. I think obviously the thicker you put it on, the longer it's probably going to take to dry. I'm not really going to bother down there so much. As for the wheels, let's see what we got. Just plaster some in the middle, all over here. Let's get this thick. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and finish this now, and I'll show you what I've got just with the acrylic mud, and then we put some pigments into it to have some dry spots. Okay, this is what we've got so far. This is all the acrylic mud attached. If I can pick this up without making a mess. here is the mud splattered all over the wheels and tracks. Also, I'm going to use some track wash, and we're going to flicker this on. The front and back. Again, this can be a little bit messy, so just make sure you've got your area, some towels down, so you don't make your workspace too messy. I think these are enamel based, these products. We are going to do a little bit of splatter up the front of the vehicle. And the rear. Okay, my friends, the tank is all finished. The T-34 76 is all done. There's a lot of first for me on this kit. As for the winter camouflage and the hairspray technique by chipping it is a first. The first time I've used acrylic mud for the thick mud look. It dries shiny. That's what I was after. As for the kit itself, it's a TAMIYA kit. Pretty much shake and bake. TAMIYA goes together really well. The detail is pretty cool. I think it looks like a T-34 to me, so there's no problems there. As I say, the stowage as well, the logs, the boxes, the tracks and the tarp and stuff, that all comes in the kit. So pretty much this is straight out the box. This has no aftermarket. The only thing I did add to it was a little bit of rope to tie around the logs, but this is what you get straight out the box. This is what I've come up with. This is for the T-34 group build, like I mentioned before. It's a good kit. You should try one. I hope you all like it, guys, and I'll catch you later.